So, the article I would like to share today is The Shortcut to Happiness, another beautiful wisdom jewel from Om Swami. Is there a shortcut or some rapid path to happiness? Here's a beautiful story to make you think. When someone asks Om Swami about if there is a shortcut to happiness, he narrates this story. A rich man was breathing his last when he was surrounded by his family members. A bitter argument had been going on about who would get what, how his assets and wealth would be distributed, and so on. In the present moment, his so called loved ones were quiet, some standing with their arms crossed, some with a frown, others a bit more solemn, all waiting for the old man to die so the meeting with their Lord could begin. In the same room, in a corner, stood three important aspects of his life: wealth, love, and trust. Wealth was all decked up in finery. Love was bubbling with energy, but trust was standing quietly. It was his usual style not to make any noise. After all, trust is a silent emotion. You can assure someone with your words, but only your actions can build it. What are you going to do, Wealth? Love asked her. Looks like you're all set to leave the dying man. Kind of, Wealth said nonchalantly. I mean, it's not like I belong to him. I'll divide myself and go to live in his properties, shares, bank accounts, and balance sheets. And if his heirs make smart choices and take care of me, I'll be happy to come back even more than ever before. What about you, love? Wealth questioned in return, while Trust stood there and nodded introspectively. I'm a lot more flexible, Love said. Right now, though, I must leave because I feel suffocated in this toxic and acrimonious environment. They are all focused on you, and I don't live where I am not wanted. So, are you leaving them forever? No, not necessarily so. If they develop feelings of care, respect, and compassion towards each other, I'll happily come back. It's been great being here, and I'll leave once the rich man takes his last breath. Realizing that throughout, Trust had been completely quiet, they turned to him and asked together, Are you going to? I'm left with no other choice. So, how or when will you come back? It'll be lovely to see you again here. Sorry, my friends, but I work somewhat differently. How? I don't come back, Trust said, shaking his head. Once I leave forever. Happiness, in my view, is a sense of fulfillment which comes from three things. First, the purpose. Unless you have a purpose in life, it will be extremely hard to put your energies into anything creative. The mind is baffling phenomenon of the human existence. I've observed that if you have everything you could ever want, but you don't have something meaningful to do, you will be more depressed and lost than I could put into words. Privileged people, whom I meet all the time, can get so self absorbed and sad that life to them feels like constant burden. Loneliness, non clinical depression, bouts of anxiety, persistent sadness, and nagging emptiness, they all stem from the same thing: purposeless life. Purpose doesn't mean that you'll have plenty of fun doing what you do. Most of the time, your to do list will consist of boring action items you'd rather not do. And that's the thing: to have the discipline of ticking off the mundane, knowing it's leading you to your end goal. Purpose means you have undertaken something that makes you feel you're sharing your talents with the world. It makes your existence worthwhile. The second, love. It's incredibly hard to remain motivated without loving what you do. Without that love and motivation, self discipline becomes even harder. And one way of loving something is to look at the brighter side of life, is to find those little gems of joy that lie scattered on the path under the rustling leaves of self doubt and desires. In other words, it is to enjoy the journey and earning that sense of triumph. When you receive something after working towards it, your joy multiplies automatically. To eat a good meal after an intense workout or to stand under the shower after a long and tiring day exponentially increase the joy of doing so. To be in love with what you do comes from the understanding that my life must have a careful balance between the things I want to do versus the things I have to do. The more I learn to accept and enjoy the latter, the more opportunities I'll have to do the former. If you wish to do the things you want to do in life, then learn to enjoy the things you have to do. As they say, either do what you love or love what you do. The third, trust. Trust is not just protecting the trust other people have placed in you, but also self trust, which is equally, if not more important. Self trust grows when you do what you say you will do, when you resolve to do something or make promises to yourself. Example, I'll quit smoking or I'll exercise 5 days a week, etc. And don't honor them, your self esteem takes a big hit. And every time that happens, you lose a bit of faith in yourself, gradually reaching a point where you no longer trust yourself. Now, if you can trust yourself, how can others or the world trust you? Without trust, there's no security, a lack of which in turn leads to a defensive attitude, a bloated ego, and indecisiveness. On a beautiful evening, Mullah Nazruddin was enjoying the company of his wife with Arabian coffee and dates. Recounting his days of courtship, he said, Begum, you were drop dead gorgeous, and I know that you knew it too. She smiled, her face blushing, and said, I was also quite smitten by you. How come you never showed it back then? In fact, why is it that you never hear a beautiful woman courting a man, but it's always the other way around? Ever seen a mousetrap running after the mouse? She said victoriously, putting the sumptuous date in her mouth and sipping her coffee. In the absence of any comeback, Mullah became silent and pretended to be busy picking the best date from the plate. You were also quite handsome and caring, she said in an effort to continue. But you have really changed now. How? Well, you used to bring me so many clothes, jewelry, utensils, and whatnot, but now you do nothing of that sort. Mullah says, Oh, Begum, you're so innocent after all. Who needs bait for the fish that's already in the bucket? Love or trust, however, is not about trapping or baiting. It is about mutual care and appreciation, about mutual respect and purpose. Here's the secret to happiness. Protect trust, self-trust and others at all cost. Love and purpose will walk into your life on their own. Together, they make up happiness. It's that simple, really. I just loved this article, Masters, and wanted to share with you all. If anyone would like to share your perspective or your experience with meditation, please feel free to unmute. Hi, Ram, please go on.
Hi, Swapna.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Yes, wonderful meditation and a great wisdom as well. You know, the purpose of everyone is in the end to be happy. Yet, I feel that many people do not think about it.
Mhm.
And when they stop thinking about it, they in the end give their wish to be happy into the external factors.
Mhm.
There are many ways to be happy. As in the article, we have to find the purpose, we have to, various steps. For me, as I was listening to the article, what came to my mind is if one is really clear to be happy, the happiness is found instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And if one doesn't find the happiness in life, they will have to think about the emotions on which they are spending majority of the time,
Mm-hmm.
and then make a choice. Is it truly I want to be happy?
Mm-hmm.
And if I am experiencing a different emotion, how would I transform it into happiness? Make a
Mm-hmm.
choice.
Yes,
It is all about choices.
absolutely.
Nothing in the world can be a barrier for one's happiness. It can be a barrier if we give away our happiness to the external elements.
Absolutely.
If we truly strongly choose to be happy, happiness is everyone's. So it's simple to be happy. It's difficult to be unhappy would be the statement for everyone who chooses happiness as their ultimate goal.
Absolutely. Beautifully said, Ram.
Yeah. So yeah, wonderful wisdom and even the story that you have shared.
Yeah. So it's beautiful how he says that, the first most important thing is to protect your trust, your self-trust, and also others at all cost. And he says love and purpose will walk into your life on their own. So being committed to our goals, being committed to what promises we make to ourselves and others, be it discipline, the self-discipline that we want to, inculcate, everything, every commitment that we make
Yeah,
uh, builds, I mean, gives us that confidence. And eventually, as he says, love and purpose will follow. So the three
yeah,
points is so beautifully explained about what exactly is the purpose. It's not, it doesn't mean that you'll have fun doing things. Sometimes you'll have to do things that leads to your end goal. And same about love, trying to differentiate between what I want to do versus what I have to do and accepting the I have to do. And trust again is the same thing about yourself as well as the promises that you make. So beautifully he explained about each of the elements that help in you know creating happiness in our lives.
yes, yes, Swapna. Regarding the trust and how one has to do what they will wish to do. Just coincidentally, yesterday we were watching a movie, Chendu Champion. How
Mm,
this person who had the wish to win in Olympics,
mhm,
how he goes through the life, and
mhm,
he goes to the army, then he ends up in a war, and basically he gets 9 bullets. He becomes basically handicapped. His whole life, even until today, has one of the bullets in his spine. Yet he goes ahead because he wants to win in Olympics,
wow.
and then he wins in Paralympics, bringing the first gold medal to India in Paralympics
Mm,
in 1970s. And and you see a person when he has that will to do, and then he does
determination. Mhm.
exactly. You see, so the only barrier between one person and his own happiness is himself.
Himself. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Beautiful.
yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ram. Should watch that movie for sure.
Yeah.
Masters, anyone else would like to share your experience, your perspective? Thank you all once again for joining and adding your energies to the meditation. See you all in our evening session. Namaste. Have a wonderful day.